everyone, welcome or welcome back to another video. I am so glad you're here. On this channel, I talk about news, controversies, and drama on the bookish side of the internet, and I certainly hope you'll stick around. Today, we kind of have like a throwback type of video back when I used to do like some TikTok reaction videos. So this is very unplanned and unscripted in all ways. I had another video planned. I kind of don't want to draw any more attention to the subject matter than is already on it. So I decided, even after writing the whole script and getting it all planned out, that I was not going to make that video. But I still wanted to make a video, so we're here. That's what we're doing. I look like this, and this video is gonna be what it is. If you are not interested, please feel free to turn this off. I understand that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea because it's, you know, just silly book TikToks and me telling you all my thoughts and feelings on them. So no hard feelings if this is not your jam, but I just thought this was a better idea, just kind of a little unserious video today. So that said, let's go ahead and watch some TikToks.
So apparently being poor is unethical if you're an indie author, because according to some rando on the internet, if I can't afford to pay somebody to make a custom cover and custom character art to format my book and do my marketing, God forbid I can't have a special edition, apparently I just shouldn't publish at all now. But I thought being an indie author meant doing things independently. The point of going indie was to remove the gatekeeping. We no longer had to wait for the publisher to do things for us. But now we're supposed to have a bunch of other people do everything for us. But the second one of us admits that we use free programs to do things ourselves, or even uses AI, suddenly everybody's grabbing their pitchforks, and they're acting like they're going after somebody at the Salem witch trials. Meanwhile, some people are literally trying to decide whether or not they can afford their groceries. I'm sorry, have you guys not seen the $5 a gallon gas? Can we please stop pretending like everybody has disposable income? The funniest part to me about this is that we've always been saying that going indie meant things were more accessible to more people. It's about supporting small creators, not the publishers. But now all of a sudden, everybody's saying you're not a real author if you can't outsource everything. Like, I'm sorry, not everybody here has a rich husband named Brad that's supporting their smut career. And some people are just doing the best they can with the resources that they have. You can absolutely not like AI, and you can absolutely have an opinion about using free programs. But acting like only wealthy people should be able to publish a book, that's probably the most classist and privileged opinion that you could possibly have. Don't worry, we can all see that fucking silver spoon sticking out of your mouth.
Okay, so a few things to say about that. I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, so it very well could be that a lot of people are saying you shouldn't publish a book unless you can afford to have like special editions and a really, you know, really expensive detailed cover and all of that. So I'm definitely not trying to invalidate her experience. However, I feel like maybe this is an exaggeration. And again, I know that sounds hypocritical that I literally was just like, I believe her, but no, the thing is, if these things were said to her, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen this. But I don't necessarily think that she is... Well, first of all, if people are saying that, then they're wrong. I don't think that the whole indie publishing thing is necessarily meant to, like, when people say it's more accessible, they don't necessarily mean as far as money. I think they mean more as like you can publish anything you want. You don't have to rely on a publisher to read your book. Like, you don't have to do querying. You don't have to find an agent, all of that kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe that's just my interpretation. And indie authors, please sound off because I don't know. I don't know anything. But I also think there's so many other ways you could go about this versus using AI. And I don't think that's like, she only mentions that a little bit, but yeah, I'm sorry, there is a problem with that. And there are plenty of programs and like ways you can license covers for very, very inexpensive. Get someone on like Fiverr. I mean, I know these aren't like great ideas, but I feel like there are ways other than AI. And I don't really know what solution, if she's looking for a solution. I don't know. I don't know. This is one where I actually like screenshotted some comments because I was interested. So this one says, I see two things going on. Those who are riding the moral outrage trains because they have an idea AI is bad, so they have to draw a moral line. And anyone who crosses it must be bad, so they can look down on them. We'll get back to that. And if they chose to pay for all those services, and everyone should, even if they have enough skill to do it themselves or use tools like AI successfully. I did formatting for a living for 10 years and have enough tech and graphic design skills that all I need is AI-generated custom images I can use in Photoshop. I'm still making my designs and doing a lot of the layout work myself, or making and editing my AI scenes for trailers. Drives me nuts that people think they have the right to condemn me for doing things my way when I don't see an issue with the tech. Well, okay, so you're allowed to have your opinions on that, but like, people are also allowed to have their opinions on that. And I think that using generative AI is morally wrong. I think it's theft, and I think that it's, contributing to more environmental problems than we're already facing. And I think there's a lot of things that are wrong with it. And so I just feel like this is such a weird thing to say, because there's plenty of things that are wrong morally that you could apparently use the same argument on. And like, I don't know. I do think that there is a moral line, and I do think that anyone who crosses it, they might not be bad, but once someone tells them about what is bad about AI and they still continue to use it, then I do think that that's not great. I don't know. I think that this is such a weird excuse. Like, they have enough skill to do it themselves, and they've done formatting for a living and all of this, but like, you still need to use AI to do your job. I don't get it. Someone else says, people don't realize that using AI is doing it yourself. And the original poster says, there are too many people that are of the opinion that using AI, especially generative, is stealing from authors. I get the idea behind it, but not all of the art that is in the AI was given without permission. People are feeding their essays and research papers and books into ChatGPT every day on purpose. People are consistently putting their own things into ChatGPT on purpose to get better outcomes of what they drew themselves. Not all of it is stolen art. Well, any of it being stolen art is not good. And the fact that you can't be like, hey, ChatGPT, I don't know, I don't use it, I don't know what you tell it. Make this thing for me, but only use art that was willingly put into you and like into your system. I don't think it can do that, because it's not actually intelligent. It doesn't know. So I think that's just a really dumb excuse, and I don't think that it is an excuse. Like, using AI is not doing it yourself. I'm so sorry, but I will not be taking questions on that. Someone else says, I'm an indie author. I'm literally broke. I cut costs wherever I could by doing things myself. I know the struggle. However, if you use AI for your book, you're cheapening it for your readers. If I see an AI-generated book cover, I won't touch that book with a 10-foot pole, and many readers won't either. Why? Because AI is unethical and indicative of a lack of care for the creative process, which reflects on the book itself. It exists because it steals from actual creatives while poisoning vulnerable communities and destroying our environment. Readers don't want AI in their books in any capacity. Many of us indie authors don't want the indie scene to become synonymous with AI slop. And the poster says, I get where you're coming from. I will say that you use generative AI every day by being on this platform, and so do all of the other indie authors that are on here. What? And that is also part of our creative process. I personally have not used AI in my own books, but I know plenty of people that have, and it doesn't take away from what they've already done. Hard disagree. If anything, your opinion is actually falling into a very loud minority at this point. Hard disagree again. Most people don't actually care if people use AI for their book covers. Most people don't care if you used AI to help keep your thoughts organized. Most people don't care that you used AI in some small capacity as a tool in your writing process. Some people don't even care if you wrote the whole book with AI. That part I will never agree with because you didn't actually write it. But it's a stretch to say that you wrote an entire book and then made an AI book cover, so now the inside is also AI. Sorry, I'm just going to keep interrupting. That's actually not what she's saying, but she's saying that if you have an AI cover, they're not going to give a chance to your book because they're like, well, I mean, how many books are out there? I would probably see a book with an AI cover and just be like, you know what? Probably going to pass. Not because the book is bad or it necessarily has AI in it, but I'm not going to take that risk because clearly the author's okay with AI usage, so I'm not going to bother reading a book like that. It's a weird way to think, and if that's what somebody chooses to do, then you're more than welcome to not support that person, but you don't need to come in and burn them at the stake to try to ruin your career over it. Just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean that other people don't, and it's not your job or anyone else's job to police how other people think. I mean, yeah, but you put this opinion out there on TikTok so people can share their opinions back. And I think that, I mean, this is an indie author, and I would think that she would want input from other people who are also in the field that might know more as well. I don't know if she's a debut author or what, but I think it's worth listening to other opinions on. That's all I'm gonna say. And I don't know. I feel like most of people that watch my videos are also very anti-AI, but I don't know. I don't know. We've been doing books for a long, long time without it. I don't really feel like there's a reason we need to do it now. Don't say anything if you disagree. Next TikTok.
Cancel culture on BookTok is literally the exact same thing as banning books. Just because you don't agree with the opinion of someone else, you're canceling them, therefore banning the books from being able to be read by the masses and telling everyone that they should also not read from this author. It has got completely out of control. The amount of people that I see on this app coming on weekly telling you that they're throwing away books because of this author said this, or because they saw this author doing that, or the author didn't show up for something. It's just, the excuses have gotten so dramatic. It's like we want the drama here, so we are just pinning it on the authors and canceling another one and another one. So if you want to keep canceling authors, you can send the books my way instead of throwing them out, because I will gladly read these cancel culture books, as will I be reading any banned books.
Cancel culture is not a real thing. Secondly, banning books compared to people coming on and saying they disagree with someone's opinion so they're no longer going to read their books, these are very much not the same thing. I am so tired of people saying book banning, and then not actually understanding what that means. Same with like freedom of speech. Like people don't understand. And no one is telling her that she cannot read such and such book. They're saying why they're not reading it and why they don't encourage reading it. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are saying like don't like being more aggressive with it, but like that's how you're interpreting it as well. This is just, it's such a tired argument. It's so overdone, and it does not check out when you actually look at it past just her words. And that part about banning being the same as canceling, that's not like an interpretation that I'm making. She literally said that. I just think that is such a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, like, I don't know how to explain that you're still able to purchase this book. Someone giving an opinion and saying that they're not interested in reading this because of whatever, and maybe you should also think about this. That's not book banning.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Just because a book has 5 stars does not mean it's a good book. Sometimes it just means it's popular.
So if you are just listening to this, it says on the screen, controversial 5-star book reviews. So I actually really agree with this take. So my sister, I'll never forget this. She like made fun of me so much for on Goodreads giving The Great Gatsby 3 stars and giving like some, like I think like Confessions of a Shopaholic or something, giving that 5 stars. And it's kind of funny because to me it's like an entertainment value. I understand that Great Gatsby is a work of great American literature, and no one would say that like Confessions of a Shopaholic is like one of the great masterpieces of our time, but I got more enjoyment out of it than I did The Great Gatsby, and that's how I rate books. So definitely agree with this. I'm sure there's other opinions out there, but I don't think that like my ratings on whatever are necessarily for anyone but myself, because I'm the one that's going to forget what I read and need a refresher and need to remember if I liked it or not.
One of the most asinine things about being a book talker is the fact that TikTok also thinks that I'm an author. Girl, I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD. There is no one in the universe that wants to pay to hear what I can come up with in my head. Because it will be a 700-page book, but there will be strictly no lines. You'll think you're reading George R.R. Martin, but you're reading Dr. Seuss. It will be madness. But I am a LARPer, so I am good at pulling crap out of my ass. So at least it'll be entertaining.
So I saved this one because I thought it was funny because I've mentioned it before. I am constantly getting emails and like DMs that are like, hey, book lover Laura, we want to publish your book, or like, do you want to get more visibility for your book? And I am like, bruh, I'm not an author. You don't know me. Or they're like, we think you'd be a great fit, blah, 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 at our company. And I'm like, hey, babe, so I literally talk about all the time how I'm not an author and I have no goals to write a book. Like, that's just not something that I'm interested in doing. I would rather sit here and talk about things going on than write a book myself. And so I totally can relate to this. It's just like, yeah, no, you don't want to read a book by me.
Apparently people went to Romanticy-Con and went to author signing tables with negative reviews printed on the books for the authors to sign. The audacity. Like, why do people think that this is okay to show up and hand a book for an author to sign with negative reviews printed on it? What goes through your mind? I'm just so curious as the thought process behind that. The cons are getting out of hand, right? Every time there's a convention, a book convention lately, there's controversy. I'm going to BookCon in April, and I'm a little scared. You guys, I'm a little worried.
That is some foreshadowing there, I guess. This is like wackadoo behavior. Like that's crazy. Who goes through the time to like print out a review that's negative for someone to sign? I mean, like, if you know the author and you guys have some sort of relationship and you know that they have a sense of humor about this kind of thing, then sure. But I doubt that's what she's talking about. And the author's not getting anything out of this except probably their feelings hurt, because it doesn't really matter knowing that negative reviews exist about your book. Seeing them is not something that needs to happen. I've kind of mentioned it on Threads, but once I was being lazy and I didn't feel like typing my YouTube like link or whatever into my Google or into, you know what I'm saying. I didn't feel like typing the whole thing. So I literally just put in Google like Laura Ray says YouTube. And I got some hits from Reddit talking shit. And I was not looking for this. And so I At one point, there was a time when I clicked on one, like before that, when this happened. I did not even, I couldn't look, but it's just bizarre. Even though, like, of course, I don't know if I have that much confidence that people care enough to talk about me like that, but I also feel like, you know, maybe someone does, and I know that people aren't saying nice things all the time, and it still is not something I need to see in front of my face. So yeah, that's not cool behavior at all. Let's not do that. So the last TikTok I have to show you, I know this is a short video, is from Percy J, who is an author that attended A Million Lives book festival last year. If you don't know what that is, I'm gonna link it for you. I made a video about it. It was like my original video that kind of started me on this track of talking about controversies and stuff. So check it out if you haven't. It was a really big mess. So she has an update. It's been a year, and I wanted to make an update video, but I really didn't find enough worthy of an entire video. So this is a good one to kind of make you, you know, see what's going on now.
Imagine how badly you have to screw up for an entire city to come after you for a bag. I don't have to imagine, because I was there. Happy anniversary, my friends! Yes, it has been exactly 1 year since the speaker heard round the world made its internet debut. And so to celebrate this momentous occasion in many of our lives here on Book Talk, I went to searching for the court case against the event coordinator. So to recap, back in September, the city of Baltimore, or the Baltimore Convention Center, filed a lawsuit against Grace for money owed. We didn't know exactly how much money was owed because, frankly, I was raising infant twins and didn't want to have to, you know, get the court documents. But I was lazy and looked up what happened. And y'all, the Baltimore Convention Center got their bag. $8,000 worth. So these documents are all public. I just found them on the case search function in the Maryland Circuit Court system. You can look it up too if you want. But approximately 2 weeks ago, the city of Baltimore secured a money judgment against Grace. This is just an affidavit judgment, which means there was no dramatic court case or anything. It was just here's some paperwork, she owes us money, and the judge says, that looks about right, and then issued a judgment. Even though there is no record of Grace ever appearing in court on her behalf, there is evidence that she did file into the case. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that she didn't get a lawyer and just filed it herself because, that is what she filed. I do not owe the full amount. Sure, Jan. If someone wanted to be nosy and go retrieve these court documents from the courthouse, I certainly would welcome it, and I would love to see what the original contract says that she even paid the Baltimore Convention Center. Because myself and over 100 other authors paid her money to go to this event, and we tallied up that had to have been like $10,000 to $20,000, $30,000, something like that. So if she owed the BCC $8,000, where did all of our money go? Grace originally told us that it all went to the convention center, but she owed them 8 G's. So, to quote one of my most famous sayings, the math is not mathin'. I don't know. I cannot believe we are still getting tea a year later, but if you have any more information as to what that contract states, I would love to know, just because this is the gift that keeps on giving. If we couldn't get a ball, at least we're getting entertained somehow. And Grace, if you're watching this, I'm still waiting for my refund, queen. Hit me up.
So, you know, is justice being served? A little. I do still feel really bad for all the authors that lost money on this. I'm sure at this point a lot of them, if not all, are just like, yeah, we're not getting our money back. But I do still feel bad that happened at all. But at least she's not just like disappearing and getting away with it completely, because she did take a lot of money from people and deliver them nothing. So that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry, this was not what I normally do. And I'm sorry that it's probably gonna be a little bit choppy because I'm not working off a script, so I'm just yapping. I will try to edit it as best I can. That said, I don't have an indie author feature prepared today because, again, just talking. So That said, I hope you enjoyed it a little, maybe. And I would love to know your opinions on any of these TikToks if you have anything to say about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.